Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, come on. It's that new year, 2026. Yay. Let's hope it's a lot better than 2025, right? At least no worse, right? No worse. We all got through our trials and tribulations, our challenges, our difficulties. Now it's time to move on and make life a little better, a little easier to live, and always pay it forward. Help somebody else along the way. Today, we have a gentleman here, John DeDakis. He's going to tell us about the tragedy came through his life with his sister and his son and how things are going. So, John, let me push this button. There you are. Push that button again. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks, James. It's good to be here.
Great. Well, you got to be somewhere. You might as well be here, right? So, all right. Well, we appreciate you being here. And just the little thing, yeah, tragedy with sister and your son, your firstborn. And sorry, because I've read the notes a little bit, and sorry you're going through that. But I love talking to people how they've, used that to make things better and easier for other people and life a little easier. It's not going to be greatest. It's not going to be perfect, but it can be a little easier anyway.
Exactly. I mean, I thank you, James, for the opportunity to talk with you and your viewers and listeners. Everybody, no matter, who you are, has gone through a difficult time. And it doesn't necessarily mean the loss of a loved one. It can be the loss of a pet, your health, a job, a relationship, your innocence. Any number of things can create, a sense of loss and a challenge to persevere. And in my case, my sister.
I went over to say, I got to stop you there.
Sure.
You did say persevere, so it's a form of perseverance. So let me give you a fist bump.
Oh, thank you.
All right, go ahead.
I said the secret word, huh?
That's right. Yes, sir, you did. All right, moving on.
Okay, moving on. So, in my case, the tragedy, the first I mean, there have been several, of course, but probably the one of the more profound ones, let's say, was the suicide of my sister. She was 8 years older than I. She was 38 years old. She was brilliant. She could have been a surgeon. She could have been a concert pianist. And her husband basically said, what would it look like, a football coach married to a surgeon? And so one by one, she gave up her dreams. And over the course of 20 years, lost her will to live.
Yeah, what a statement.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
I'd be going, look at this football coach with this brilliant surgeon beside me, and they're going to help surgically break down the defense. I would have used it oh, wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
They could have been a real team. And instead it was, he saw it as a threat. And, and yet she, and I think a lot of people, kind of buy into the fact that, oh, well, maybe they're not as good as they think they are, or they especially among women, they let a guy define who they are. And in my sister's case, it just, continued to eat away at her until the point where she went into the garage, closed the door, and turned on the car and ended it after 20 years of marriage. And I was on the scene that day, and it affected me deeply. It's still with me. You never get over something like that. But it became part of the first novel that I wrote, maybe 14 years after the event. And I've written 20 novels now. All of them deal with grief and loss, because that becomes part of my protagonist's life. And so by the time my third novel came along, my youngest son went missing. He was off the grid for a week. We didn't know where he was. It was out of character for him. And he ended up being found dead in my car a block and a half away from where we lived in Washington. in DC, and he was dead of an accidental heroin overdose. And that was just devastating.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I went through grief counseling for about 2.5 years, and his story as well made it into one of my novels, and made it part of my protagonist's life. And one of the things I've discovered is that writing has been a tremendous way for me to be able to use writing as a way to heal from grief.
It makes a good form of therapy.
I think so. Yeah, it's cathartic and it's therapeutic.
Well, and I'm not going to get too deep on the thing, but I attempted suicide 3 times in 3 days.
Oh
That's how
my
bad I
goodness.
wanted out. And the last time they found me in my garage, in my van, sucking carbon monoxide. I don't know if you know, but I'm in a wheelchair. I got my neck broke playing football. And so I got out of my wheelchair to lay on the van floor. That way, if it felt bad, I couldn't leave. And someone found me. And I was in the hospital for 7 weeks. And over all this time, saw a psychologist, and he told me that for whatever reason, God didn't take me. I still have a purpose. And part of my purpose, I think, has led me to do this podcast to help get other people's story out there.
Help me understand what it was that turned you around and gave you the will to go forward.
I mean, I guess part of it was faith, Again, God didn't take me. So it means I had something to do. And so that's when I wrote my first book, How I Got in a Wheelchair. And again, when I say it was a form of therapy, that was a form of therapy for me to write that and express things. As a man, we grew up to shut up and keep it in.
Yep.
We fall down, put dirt on it, spit on it, let's move on. And
Right.
so seeing the psychologist was great for me to understand that it's okay to open up and talk.
Oh man,
And it's okay to write this book and
yes.
put your feelings out there for other people because they're probably going through it too.
Exactly. I mean, I'm so glad that that you took that step, because it's so, it's on one level, it's understandable why someone would feel hopeless and feel that that's the only way out. And yet, and I'd be interested in your opinion on this. It would seem to me that that's also sort of tunnel vision. You're not really seeing the bigger picture, and you're not thinking in terms of, somebody's got to clean you up and get you.
Yep.
You're going to be, it's going to be that is going to cause a lot of pain for a lot of other people, but you're not thinking about that. You're only looking about that far ahead.
Exactly. You're thinking about what you're going through now. And you say that before I even attempt years ago. I remember telling other people, that's a selfish act, because just like you said, other people's got to come clean up your mess when
Right.
it's over with. But then when I was put in that position, I wasn't looking at a selfish act. I'm looking at, I'm tired, I'm ready, and it's it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, other people's got to clean it up, but yeah, I'm tired, I'm ready to go. And that's
Sure.
where now I don't laugh a lot about it, but it's a little funny incident that I had my cat in the house, and when I started up the van, it started smelling that carbon monoxide. I was going, "Wait a minute, cat's in the house," and I didn't want any of it leaking under the door and get in the house and then
Right.
him die. And so
Right.
I got out of my van and got in the garage, out of the garage, to let him outside, and then I got back in the garage.
Oh
And
man.
someone said, "You thought more of your cat than your own life?" At
Yeah.
that time, yes.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
you said something really important, and that's the importance of being able, especially for men, to be able to face their emotions. Women get it. Crying is an emotional safety valve. But when you think about it, we keep it inside. It doesn't make the pain go away. It just is corrosive. And if you think about it, every mass murderer is a guy. And if you think about it, what's probably happened is they've kept that pain shut inside, and by the time they really deal with it, the tears have become bullets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, I was a school teacher for a while, and I would tell the kids that, on the life average, the women's going to live 6 to 8 years longer. And I
Right.
said, because one reason is they know how to break and cry and
Yeah.
release that stress, that
Yeah.
emotional grip on them. They know how. And I said, now, and I was kidding with the kids. I said, now, once a week, I'll take a hammer and hit my finger to make myself cry. And they don't know how to act.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I was kidding with them about that. But yeah, other, here's one big takeaway I learned with meeting with my psychologist. We exercise in sports our body physically to make it as strong as it can be, on the field. Well, in life as well, we've got to exercise our mind, and that's talking to someone, that's reading things positive, watching positive movies or whatever, and learn to open and express and make your mind as strong as your body is.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I learned as a reporter. I was a reporter for a journalist for 45 years. And, in many cases, you meet people on the worst day of their life. And, you have to ask the grieving widow, how do you feel? And I mean, as much as that was a lousy assignment, the discovery is there are some people, many of them women, who appreciate the opportunity to talk about their loved one and to express their feelings and to be able to articulate them. And I think when we do that, it gives us a certain degree of, I don't know if detachment is the right word, but it gives us a sort of an objective look at things. We can see things in a more clear way if we have learned to be able to articulate what we feel and why we feel that way. So I applaud you for, going to a psychologist, because I think that's a safe place, and it's a place where you can really, let your hair down in a way that you can't with anybody else, because they're not emotionally invested in you. You're not going to hurt their feelings by saying something that's, that might be hurtful to someone else. And in doing so, you you understand yourself better. That's one of the things I tell my writing students. The better you know yourself as a person, the better your writing will be, because it'll be coming from a place of authenticity.
Yeah, and people read through, and I don't mean reading the book. They read your face and uh, your demeanor and everything, and they read through it if you're authentic, or if you're just playing the game to be out there. They know it. They can read it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Well, the joke is, sincerity is everything. If you can fake that, you've made it.
so there you go. That's right. That's right. Yep. And now my attempt was 15 years ago, and at that time it wasn't because I wanted to see a psychologist. When you live through a suicide attempt, they make you see a psychiatrist, a psychologist,
Yeah.
and so. But I'm glad I went.
I have another question to ask you. I'm going to
Yes.
turn the tables again.
Yeah.
What was before you went through therapy, what was your expectation or opinion of it? And what then, after you went through it, how did the reality compare to your expectation of it?
After I went through, it was a 100% turnaround for my mental thought. Because growing up, I was brought up thinking if you're seeing a psychiatrist, you're seeing a psychologist, you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's the reason you see them. It's not because of help, trying to relieve stress, trying to open up to someone to get out of an event or something. To me, growing up is you're seeing one of them, you're crazy, man. So me going in thinking, man, they're going to tear them crazy. And I mean, I'm thinking of, the movie, the cuckoo,
One
the
flew over
cuckoo's
the
nest.
cuckoo's nest, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking,
Whoa.
and I'm looking for Nurse Ratched around when I
Right.
first show up.
So what
And
was the reality in comparison
the
to the
reality,
expectation?
it was nothing but all positive. Again, 100% turnaround on my mental, because again, we and and let me tell people, you don't have to see a psychologist or psychiatrist. You just need to be able to open up to somebody you can trust
Right.
that's not going to use that information to stab you in the back later.
There you
And
go.
you need to find that's what you got to find. You don't have to go see. But if you not that you don't trust your spouse, maybe you don't want to put add burden to them, then I
Right.
would recommend seeing someone that, whether it's a minister, a coach, a mentor, a best friend, someone again is not going to use that against you later on.
You mentioned spouse, and a lot of times marriages don't survive the death of a child. And my wife and I are still married. It's coming up on 48 years. And there was a moment, maybe a couple of months after Stephen died, when we were in the car. Cindy and I were in the car together, and a song came on the CD player, and Cindy hit the button to advance it to the next track. And I said, "Why did you do that?" And she said, "Every time I hear that song, it makes me cry." And it turns out that it was the same song that when I heard it, I would hit the repeat button because it made me cry. Same song, same emotional reaction, different way of dealing with it. And that was an eye-opening experience. And I realized there's no one right way to grieve. She and I definitely realized we were going to do it differently. And I think the reason that our marriage survived is that we didn't compare our grief to one another. I didn't, I wasn't saying snap out of it. She wasn't saying, "Oh, you're not doing it right." We got our support, our emotional support elsewhere. And yet we were able to be a team as well.
Yeah, you're correct about a lot of family, husband and wives, spouses, however you want to look at it. That the loss of a child does a lot of time end up in divorce or separation at the minimum. I was taking a class when I first went to college, and it was a death and dying class, what it was named. And the guy teaching it, we had found out, he told his story that his son had drowned in a boating accident. And sure enough, he talked about him and his wife, divorced later because they just both couldn't handle it with each other.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're right about that. And before we go any further, anybody, if you're thinking suicide, please look for that help. Call 988 and just talk to someone. If you don't feel like you can talk to anybody, hey, get out to me. I bet you can get out to John somehow, and you can talk to us. But if you want to talk to 988, and I tell people, if you're so embarrassed, lie. Tell your name is. Tell them you're James Purdue. I don't care. Okay. But you have to be honest about what's going on for them to be able to give you some advice to help you.
Yeah.
Okay. Lie about your name if you don't want them to come back at you, but you have to be honest for them to help you. So if anybody's in that way, please seek help 988 or go find hospital, something that to direct you where you need to be.
Yeah.
All right, John. So, wow, that's a lot, especially like you said with your son. But I'm glad you were able to recognize that song, and same song, same emotions, but different reactions. On it. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to figure that out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, all right, John, go take us off again. What are we doing now? Oh. I don't know if it's me or John. John, he done fell asleep over there. No, he's froze up for a second. Well, he's freezing up. John did tell me he's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee at a writers' convention, and he'll be speaking and helping other people with their writing. So John's still frozen. So as he's going along, hopefully he'll get fixed up or come back, leave and come back maybe. So, all right.
I'm here and there you are.
There you are. Now you're back. Okay. So you were froze for a second.
Yep. So were you.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe nobody heard what I said. Okay. All right. But I was just going in after you were froze. I said that you're going to be in Nashville for a writing convention, and you're a presenter and giving other people help and advice with their writing.
Right. I'm going to be at the Killer Nashville Writers Conference in August. I go there every year. Clay Stafford runs it. And I've been going, for at least 10 years or so. This year, once again, I will be doing manuscript critiques. People will send in their first 5 pages of their manuscript. I'll get a chance to look at it ahead of time, and then I'll meet one-on-one with people for about 15 minutes or so to go over it. And I think I'll be at least on one panel and maybe leading a writing workshop as well. And I do that, not just the Killer, but online through different writing centers. And, that's part of what I do. I left CNN in 2013 and now full time I'm a manuscript editor, a writing coach, and a writing teacher.
There you go. Good. I believe, and I've said people, I know shut me up, but I've said people, everybody should write a book. Now, it doesn't have to be a number one best author. I'm telling you how to change your life. If you just want to do just a memoir and tell your story, because you've got some stuff you've been through
Yeah.
that when you're passed away, your family's not going to know about it, and they can read and
Yep.
they go, wow, that's how I got my perseverances from Uncle James.
Yeah.
Or, but I mean, if you don't want to just write your memoir
I
and,
like that. I like that. I gave my dad a notebook so that he could do something like that. And after he died, I found it, and I opened it up, and he had numbered all the pages. That's as far as he got.
oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I had done an oral history with him, but I should have done something like that with my mom, because she had a really good memory for all kinds of little details. But yeah, there's a lot about my dad I wish that he'd taken the time to write down.
I wish I would have done it because back when I was growing up, John, you'll remember this. We had the old cassette players, and we could just hit record and talk. I wish I would have done that with my grandparents. I got more
Yep.
stories.
Yeah.
My mom has given me some stories for me to put in my book, but now she's got dementia. So, but I wish I would have done it for them to get more of their stories out for
Exactly.
that. So, but yeah, I believe everybody. Here's a sad one, Don. I'm sorry. Sorry, Don. She passed away, but we were talking one day and told her about me getting my first book out, and she was all excited for me. And she told me she had written like a Nancy Drew book, and she written it for herself. And she said she wrote it when she was like 15, 17 years old, and she read it to her kids growing up, read it to her grandkids growing up. And I said, Donna, let's get that, make it to a book, Donna.
Yeah.
And nobody will read it. They don't have to. Your family can be the one to read it.
There
It
you go.
doesn't have to sell 1,000,000 copies, but
That's
this
right.
be something great for your family to hand me down.
There you
And
go.
I said, give it to me. I'll type it up and do everything for you, and you can get all the credit for it. I don't care for that. I said, I just want you to have it. She passed away before she gave it to me,
Oh
and
man.
her family knew that I was going to do this, and they never found the manuscript, or at least they never contacted me to do that. So I wish you would have done that, but that's all right, Don. It's not the worst thing in the world. From there, but yeah, I believe that everybody should
Yeah.
just put out something again.
It's therapeutic. It's cathartic and therapeutic.
Yeah, 100 years from now, one of the great can say, that's where I got my chin and nose from, Uncle James way back then. So, and again, so, all right, John. So, how long did it take? Because you got hit. How long did you say between your sister and your son?
Let's see. My sister died in 1980, and my son died in 2011.
Okay. So, and again, like you said, it doesn't get the greatest thing in the world, but it does over time. And especially again, when we're helping other people with this, I love that you're making these novels and surrounding your tragedies. Again, people are going through what we're going through is not new. It's been here.
Exactly. Yep.
And other people are just the same old thing used to when I teach. Hey, ask a question, 5 of y'all might be wanting the same thing, but only one of you is asking. So same thing. People read, and they've probably gone through what you've been through, and they just want to learn how you got through it.
Right. And I mean, I'm writing fiction, so I'm not necessarily, I mean, I've written a memoir I'm looking for a home for it now, but my novels aren't really my story. I'm inspired by personal experience and influenced by it. But what I've done is I've created characters who are, not exactly the same way I am. And I'm creating a story around them that's different than the life I've lived. And so, and yet you try to, make your characters authentic, real feeling people. And the experience that I've had, and I put it into my characters, it gives the reader a chance to, relate without it necessarily being, seen as nonfiction, where it's your story. You're basically immersing them in something fictional, more of an adventure, I guess you could say, because people kind of like to live vicariously. They don't want to, go through the experience, but they want to live. They want to be able to experience at a safe distance.
That's a good term. Experience from a safe distance. So right. They want to get their Tom Sawyer reading for today. So, all right. I was going to ask, what was I going to say? Oh, if it weren't, let's just get on the old, if it weren't the La La Land here for your sister and your son, do you think you would ever ventured into writing, or was that in the back of your mind, one day I'm going to do this, and then all of a sudden these happen, you said, do it now or it's never going to happen?
Oh, that's a really good question.
All right, we're done for today. That's a great question here. Well, he said really good question, not great, but we're done for today. That's a good. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. So, yeah, I'm just wondering, do you think this led into it? Again,
I don't
maybe
think
had
so.
Back in the mind, you're going, I'm going to write a book one day, and then so.
Yeah, I think that I always wanted to write a book just because, there were books in the house when I was growing up. I was very intrigued about it, but I was drawn more to nonfiction and ended up in journalism. And so it took me
journalism leads to nonfiction quite a bit, don't it?
It is not. It's supposedly nonfiction, although a lot of people who know I worked at CNN go, "Well, you were writing fiction the whole time."
I wasn't going to say that.
Well, thank you.
Because there's other organizations, other things that lean their way, and they're just as, I wish somehow it would go back to the old where they just gave the news and we made our own opinions.
Yeah. There you go. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did not set out to write a book because my sister died.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just the short answer is CNN made me an editor, and I'd been a writer, I'd been a reporter, and I needed a creative outlet. In fact, I actually was researching a biography of a friend of mine who'd been murdered, but I ended up leaving that project behind because it was expensive. It was time consuming. I was doing a lot of travel. I was finding out information about him that his family didn't even know. And so, my wife suggested, why don't you take this and fictionalize it? And so that's what I ended up doing. And by this time, I was probably in my mid 40s. So, I'd had life experience. There were things that had happened. And so you just draw from personal experience. And as it happened, my sister had taken her life, and I had witnessed a car train collision when I was 9 that killed 3 people. And so I drew from, that experience as well. If I hadn't had those experiences, I probably would have drawn from something else. It doesn't matter, because the desire there at that point was to write, and you just use the material that you have that sort of bubbles to the surface from your subconscious.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from your writing? Other people to reach out, and of course, know it's fiction, but they're going, man, I'm just assuming it still helps them. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. I mean, I certainly didn't write these to be self-help books, but it's so gratifying to hear from people who enjoy the characters, who, I write as a woman, and my protagonist, Lark Chadwick, is in her 20s. She's a journalist. And what really means a lot to me is when people, they finish the book, and then a month or so later, they go, what's happening with Lark? They keep thinking about her. And so that is important. And then when I do speaking, I do a lot of speaking. And one of the things I speak about is using writing as a way to heal. And when I talk about my son's death and my sister's suicide, it gives permission to people to talk about stuff that's really deep that they've been keeping inside. But it's like they have permission now that it's okay to share this with someone who understands. And that means so much.
That does. And my first book is called One More Play. And what happened is I was playing a pickup game of football, no helmets, no pads, but we were playing tackle football. So my team got the ball back, and I said, I'm done playing for today. I got to get stuff ready for class. I was in college for 2 weeks. And so I walked out, and they said, someone needs to run the ball. I said, all right, I'll come back for one more play. And that one play, I got my neck broke. And so if I would have kept walking, where would I be at today? But again, like you said, it gives, once people hear your stories, then they're going, I can do this too. And knowing somewhere along the line is going to help someone.
You said another interesting thing, and that is the whole question about if that hadn't happened, what would have been the case. And I think that, the real temptation in life is to spend time regretting the past and fearing the future. And what ends up happening is that we're no good in the moment. I think we need to learn to cultivate the present moment, because that's the only thing we can really control. You can't undo the past, and neither can I. And the future's not here yet. But the way we can effectively reach the future and navigate the future is by being effective in the moment.
Yep. I agree with you, John. I'm going to shamelessly plugged one book I wrote. Is called Your Past Doesn't Have a Future, But You Do. Create Your Future Today. So
obviously we're thinking in the same way.
We're doing something right, and that's a good thing. So tell you one more story here that my first book that I was at a point in life where I was going, and these two stories are a year apart, but they gave the same answer. And God was giving me a kick in the butt to say, because I was going, I'm not getting anywhere. No one's listening to me speak. No one's, I'm tired of this. So I went to the store one day, and one woman, she come by and says, I used to have a service dog. 2 days ago, put him down 2 years ago. Old Ricardo, I still miss you. All right. So give tribute to Ricardo. And, but she says, hey, there's Ricardo. And I said, oh, you met him before? He meets everybody. I can't keep up everybody's names. She says, no, I never met him, but he's on the front cover of your book. I said, yeah. And I said, well, how'd you get my book? And I used to say, someone referred to you. You look for a motivational book. It came up. Did you find it laying in a trash can? Someone threw it away. And that's what I asked. Now, before I tell you your answer, a year later, same thing. I'm done with this. And God gave me a kick in the butt again. A guy stops me. Hey, I read your book twice. Oh, no. He said, I read your book 4 times. Whoa. And I'm just letting you know it's going to help me in life.
Yeah.
First thing in my head, I'm thinking, now, John, this is what I'm thinking. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm thinking, bullshit, you didn't read my book 4 times. Okay. Now, so same thing. I asked him, I said, how'd you get hold of my book? And find it in the trash can, wherever. Here's where both answers were the same. I was locked up, both of them again. I was locked up in the county jail where I live, and my book is on the bookshelf.
Yeah.
And they said my book is going to help them in life. And after the guy told me that, then I thought to myself, well, maybe he did read it 4 times. I didn't say it out loud, but I said, maybe he did read it 4 times. He had nothing else to do. So hearing those was grateful to me. And after that, I said, I got to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't have to know it's going out there. We're planting the seed. It's getting flourished, watered somehow, and just hope it works out.
And I would imagine that when you get that kind of affirmation, it makes you stronger, and it makes you less likely to regress and go back to those dark days.
Yeah. Because now I know truly I am helping someone.
Right.
And then also that's when I come to the realization I don't have to know it. I just got to put it out there and just know it's helping somebody. We're not going to hear from everybody that's read our stuff. But again, we have to know that we have watered somebody else's plant seed already, or we're planting a seed and it's going to get flourished later on.
Did you really think, though, when you started to write that book, that it really would help anybody? Did you have that expectation, or did that confirmation come later?
I think it came later. I think I wrote it as, again, form of therapy
Yeah.
at the beginning,
Right.
and with the thing, I hope it does some good.
Right.
And then when I got the affirmation, then it made me feel, and again, like I said, it's like God kicking me in the butt. Quit questioning what's going on here. Okay. You do your thing. I'll take care of mine. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
it came afterwards after the writing. Yeah.
so what's book 3 going to be?
Well, I'm not going to brag or anything, but book 14 I'm working on.
Oh my God. Okay.
So, well, 5 of my books are about my service dog, Ricardo, little children's
Okay.
books. And
Uh-huh.
and all of them he's working with someone with cancer or the elderly, someone died in your car wreck, just stuff like that,
Right.
so the children won't be afraid if it comes in their
Sure.
life.
Oh
So,
man. Good for you.
but the others just little self helps a little bit. The one I'm working on now, it just going back to my playing days and telling stories how I triumphed and how I failed and connected in life.
Mhm. Okay. Excellent. 14 books. All right. Well, feel like a total slug.
No, you're doing great. Hey, you said what, 20, 40?
No, I got 6. I'll take
Oh,
it.
well,
I mean, I'm very surprised at that and pleased. And I have nothing to prove. I'm proud of those 6. There's another one on the way. There's a memoir. I've got other stuff I'm doing. So,
now
I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place.
let me ask this question.
Sure.
How many pages normally is your book?
Oh, I think they're probably about 300 pages or so, roughly around
See, that's the
85 words.
difference between me and you. I do anywhere from 100 to 120.
Okay.
I do them short.
Yeah.
So in realistic, you've got 6 out and they're roughly 300. That's 3 books in one, compared to mine. So you got 18 of them out.
You're very kind. You're very kind, sir.
So no, so that's good. All right. All right, John. Hey, I appreciate coming and sharing with us. And I'm going to get me a couple of your books to so I can read. So,
Thank you.
what do they say? People in America, people that normally graduate high school, lucky to read one book after their graduation. Yeah, we definitely need somehow encourage more reading.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
all right, John. Hey, go ahead and give us social media again. Mention your writing convention you're going to. You mentioned about coming to Nashville for a Rotary
Right.
to speak at. So go ahead and throw all that out there.
Okay. Well, probably, the best thing that if anybody wants to know anything more, I suggest they go to my website, which is my name.com, DeDakis.com, JOHN, D as in dog, E, D as in dog, A, KIS as in Sam, JohnDeDakis.com. It's got thumbnails of all my books. It talks more about the speaking that I do. There's a page devoted to my upcoming events, which includes several online classes that I teach. So it doesn't matter if we're in the same city or not. Yeah, a lot of different things that are offered there, and plus the opportunity to shoot me an email as well.
There we go. Awesome. Isn't it great with this technology? We can sit at home and do all this stuff nowadays. So
Yeah.
I've said it before, not that I'm glad I'm disabled, not that I'm glad I'm paralyzed, but I'm glad I'm in the era with all this technology to meet you in another city. Someone I interviewed in Australia a few weeks ago that I can go around the world and speak and interview. I would hate, not that I get them, I would hate it. I'll go ahead and say it. I wouldn't like it 75 years ago when none of this is going on and a
Right.
lot of people were just staying in the house because they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm in this frame.
A lot to be grateful for. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. All right, John. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. Hey, remember, we can know there's people hurting and struggling. If you can leave us with a positive message, that'd be awesome, brother.
Here's my suggestion. Take a breath and then take another one and be aware of the moment. Be aware of your breath. You know how to breathe. You don't even think about it. Start thinking about it, because that's, I think, probably the key to finding inner peace is just taking a breath and realizing, how are things right now? They're probably not that bad. No one's shooting at you. You're in a safe place. And if you can continue to cultivate that, if you're in rush hour traffic, it's another great, instead of getting impatient, take another breath because it's peaceful. And cultivating peace, I think, is an important thing for you to do, because then you'll be less likely to regret the past and fear the future.
Amen, brother. Yeah, I appreciate that word. Yeah, I tell other people, because I use the sports thing, sometimes we got to sit back and we have to punt that ball. And by punting, we can readjust where we need to and go from there. And that punting is just going to be taking that breath to see where we are and see what we need to do to change to make things a little better.
Perfect.
So, all right, John, thank you for coming in. Everybody else, thank you for listening. Hey, share us out with someone else. I'm Dr. James Perdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.